I still remember the sound of the clock ticking that night. The kind of silence that feels too loud. "Lena," I said, trying to read her expression. "You've been quiet for days. Did I do something wrong?" She stared at the floor, her hands trembling around the mug. "Ethan, we need to talk." My stomach sank. "That's never good." "It's not about you," she whispered, voice shaky. "It's about us. About our future." "Our future?" I forced a laugh. "You mean the one we've been building together for 3 years? The one I'm killing myself for every day?" She flinched. "Don't make this harder than it already is." "Then just say it." She looked up, eyes glassy. "I'm leaving you." For a second, the world stopped. My mouth went dry. "What?" "I can't keep living like this," she said. "Always worrying about rent, about bills, about your next promotion. I'm tired, Ethan." I stared at her, trying to breathe. "We talked about this. Things are getting better. I'm close to a raise." She shook her head. "You've been saying that for a year. So that's it?" My voice cracked. "You're throwing everything away because I'm not rich enough?" Her silence was the answer. I laughed bitterly. "Who is he?" She hesitated for half a second. "That was all it took. Lucas," I said. "Lucas Grant, the CEO." She looked away. Unbelievable. I stood, my hands shaking. "You're leaving me for him?" "The guy who treats everyone like dirt?" "He's not what you think," she said quickly. "He's stable, confident. He knows what he wants." "So do I snapped. "I want you!" Her eyes filled with tears. "And that's the problem, Ethan. You want me, but he wants the world. And he can give it to me." The room spun. I couldn't tell if I was angry or broken. "I thought you loved me." "I did," she whispered. "But love doesn't pay the bills." The words cut deeper than a knife. I leaned against the wall, trying not to lose it. "So what now? You move into his penthouse and forget I ever existed?" She swallowed hard. "Please don't make me feel worse. You already made me feel worthless." Her eyes shimmered, but she didn't speak. She just grabbed her purse, stood up, and whispered, "Goodbye, Ethan." The door clicked shut behind her. I stood there for a long time. No tears, no anger, just emptiness. The sound of her heels faded down the hall, and all I could hear was my own heartbeat. I sank to the floor. "Goodbye, huh?" I muttered. "That's it?" The next morning, I didn't go to work. I couldn't. Ryan called first. "Bro, where are you?" "Meeting's in 10. She left," I said flatly. "What?" "Lena, she left me." Silence. Then, "Damn, you serious?" "Yeah, for Lucas." "The CEO?" His voice jumped. "That arrogant prick?" "Guess he's got what I don't." "Money doesn't buy loyalty, Ethan." "Apparently it does." He sighed. "Come in, man. Don't let them win." "I quit," I said. "What?" "I can't work there anymore." "Not with him." "Not with her," Ryan cursed under his breath. "You sure?" "Yeah," there was a pause. "Whatever you do next, make it count." "I will." After I hung up, I just sat in silence. My phone buzzed again, a message from Maya, my coworker. "Heard about Lena. I'm sorry. Don't do anything stupid." I typed, then deleted, then finally wrote, "I'm done being stupid." That night, I walked into the office one last time. The lights were dim, the halls empty. I placed my resignation letter on my desk and looked around, the same cubicle where I dreamed of a future with her. "Funny," I whispered. "Everything I wanted started here and ended here too." As I walked out, I saw Lucas's car parked outside. He stepped out, sharp suit, smug smile. "Ethan," he said casually. "Rough night?" I clenched my jaw. "You have no idea," he smirked. "Lena told me you're a good guy. Don't take it personally." I stared at him. "You took everything personally when you wanted her." His grin faded. "Watch your tone." I took a step closer. "You can have her." "You can have the company. But one day, Lucas, I'll see you again, and I won't be the one losing." He didn't reply. I walked away, the night air cold against my skin. For the first time in years, I had nothing left. No love, no job, no safety net, but I had something better. A reason, and I swore to myself, I'll rise again. And when I do, they'll both see who they really left behind. The days after Lena left felt endless. I woke up, sat on the edge of my bed, and stared at the same cracked wall. I didn't know what to do with myself. Bills piled up. My phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Job rejections, loan reminders, reality pressing down on me like a weight I couldn't lift. Ryan called again. "Bro, you need to get out of the house," he said. "You look like a ghost." "I can't," I muttered. "Everything reminds me of her." He sighed. "Then find something else to think about." "Like what?" "Like surviving." So I did. I worked at a diner, a warehouse, even handed out flyers downtown. Every shift I told myself it was temporary, but weeks turned into months. I barely recognized the man in the mirror anymore. Tired eyes, rough hands, no spark. One evening, after a 12-hour shift, I stopped at a small park bench. My uniform reeked of grease, and I just wanted silence. That's when I saw an old man struggling to lift a heavy box near a car. "Need a hand?" I asked. He looked up, surprised. "Young man, you'd help an old stranger." "Guess so," I said, grabbing the box. "It's either this or stare at the ground all night," he chuckled. Fair trade. After I loaded his trunk, he offered me a bottled water. "Name's Cross, William Cross." "Ethan," I said, shaking his hand. "You work around here?" "Sort of. Diner nearby?" "Not your dream job, I assume?" "Not even close." He smiled faintly. "What was the dream?" "I wanted to build something. I used to work in marketing, had plans, ideas. Then life happened." He studied me for a moment. Life happens to everyone. Most people just stop there. His words hit harder than I expected. "Yeah, well, I didn't exactly choose to stop." "Then start again." I almost laughed. "It's not that easy." "It never is," he said. "But quitting's easier, isn't it?" I didn't answer. He reached into his coat and handed me a card. "Cross Enterprises. I used to invest in people," he said. "Not companies, people. You look like someone who's been punched by life but hasn't fallen yet." "I already fell." "Then get up." I looked at the card, unsure if this was real. "Why are you doing this?" "Because someone once did it for me," he said softly. "Call me tomorrow." That night, I stared at the card for hours. I didn't know if I had the courage to try again. But something about his voice, calm, certain, made me believe I could. The next day, I called. He met me at a small cafe. No suit, no pretense. Just a notebook and that same knowing smile. "So, Ethan," he began, "tell me what you want." "I want to stop feeling like a failure." "That's not a goal." "That's fear." I blinked. "Then what do I say?" "What do you want to build?" "A company," I said before I could stop myself. "Something mine." He nodded. "Then you start learning again." For months, he met me every week. He taught me about business, negotiation, leadership. Sometimes he'd just listen while I ranted about my past, Lena, Lucas, the humiliation. One evening, he said, "You talk a lot about them. They ruined my life." "No," he replied, sipping his tea. "You let them define it. Stop giving them space in your head." I clenched my jaw. "Easy for you to say." "I lost everything once, too," he said quietly. "My company, my wife, my pride. You know what I learned? Pain isn't your enemy. Stagnation is." His words stuck. That night, I wrote one line in my notebook. "Pain is fuel." Years passed. I studied, worked, saved, built connections. Mr. Cross invested small sums to help me test ideas. Some failed, some didn't. He never scolded me, only asked, "What did you learn?" Eventually, I learned enough to stand on my own. The first time I signed a contract for my new company, Nova Reach, my hands trembled. I thought of Lena, of Lucas, of the night everything fell apart. But now I wasn't broken anymore. I was burning. Mr. Cross visited my small office, still smiling. "Told you," he said. "You were never meant to stay down." I nodded. "You gave me a second chance." "No," he said. "You took it." When he left, I sat alone looking at the city lights. My chest felt heavy, but not from sadness and from fire. "I'll stand where he stands," I whispered. Not to destroy him, just to prove I could. And for the first time in years, I believed it. "Emma, what's the projection for next quarter?" I asked, scanning the spreadsheets on my laptop. She looked up, calm as always. "If we hit our targets, we'll double our revenue. Investors are already interested." I leaned back, letting a small smile form. "Double? That's good. Better than I imagined 3 years ago." Emma raised an eyebrow. "You imagined a lot back then." "You also doubted yourself every day," I chuckled. Yeah, well, I've learned to keep doubts private. She laughed softly. Private and deadly. I stared at her for a second. You know, I don't tell people this, but your efficiency saved this company more than once. Her cheeks flushed. Thanks, Ethan, but you've built it. You've done all the hard work. I shook my head. We built it together. But yes, it started with me having a lot of free time. After losing everything. She tilted her head. And you never complained about the past? I shrugged. I used it as fuel. You can't move forward carrying ghosts. You burn them instead, Emma nodded thoughtfully. Then we're on fire together. Exactly, I said, smiling. The first time in years I felt proud without bitterness. Later that week, I had a meeting with potential investors. I remember sitting across from them, calm, collected. Mr. Cole, your growth is impressive, one said, but your market is small. I disagree, I said firmly. We're nimble. We adapt faster than anyone. And we're already outperforming competitors 3 times our size. Another investor leaned in. You're confident for such a young company, I smiled. I've had years to learn what failure looks like. Confidence isn't arrogance. It's preparation. After the meeting, Emma whispered as we walked back to the office. They'll bite. You made them respect you without raising your voice once. I nodded. I prefer action to talk. That's always been my style. You've noticed, right? She smiled knowingly. Oh, I've noticed. A few days later, during a late-night review, my phone buzzed. A news alert. Grant Media reports declining revenue, layoffs expected. I froze. Lucas's company. My chest tightened. I hadn't thought about him in a while. I showed Emma, her eyes widened. Lucas, that arrogant CEO? I nodded. Seems like he's finally facing consequences. Emma leaned back in her chair. And what are you thinking? I traced the edge of my desk. Not thinking revenge, not yet. But opportunity, she waited. Go on. I could acquire Grant Media if I want. Take control. Turn the tables without lifting a finger. Emma frowned. That's bold, risky, I smiled faintly. Bold is what I've become. Risk is what I used to fear. Remember when we started Novareach? I had nothing but a rented office and a dream. Now I let the pause linger. Now we have leverage. She leaned forward. So you're serious? As serious as the day I decided to walk away from Lucas and Lena. Emma studied me for a moment. You've changed. Calm, precise, no more anger burning your words, I nodded. Anger is wasted energy. Strategy is power. We're not playing small anymore. She laughed softly. I like this version of you. I like him too, I said quietly. He doesn't tremble when someone betrays him. He doesn't beg. He doesn't despair. He plans. Then let's plan, Emma said, eyes shining. We've got investors watching, competitors underestimating us, and an opening to move faster than anyone expects. I leaned back, feeling the familiar fire ignite inside. Exactly. Time to rise from the ashes, Emma. This is just the beginning. She smiled. Just the beginning of what? Everything, I said. The company, the reputation, the chance to build what I should have had years ago. And yes, one day, that includes proving to Lucas that nothing lasts forever, not even arrogance. She raised an eyebrow. You really think that far ahead? I shrugged. I think survival is a step. Growth is the next. And success is when you hold the reins without even trying to show it. Emma laughed, shaking her head. You've become dangerous in a calm way. I grinned. Exactly. That's my specialty. Late that night, I stayed in the office alone. The skyline glimmered outside the window. I thought about the man I used to be. Desperate, hollow, defeated. And now I was sharp, focused, and ready. I whispered to myself, 3 years, Ethan, from nothing to this. And soon, the real game begins. The elevator doors opened, and I stepped into the lobby of Grant Media, the same lobby where I once felt small, invisible, humiliated. Now my shoes clicked against the marble floor like a warning. A receptionist looked up. Can I help you? I'm here for the boardroom, I said, voice steady. Mr. Grant and Ms. Hart are expecting me. Her eyes widened slightly, then she nodded. Of course, Mr. Cole, I didn't correct her. Let her feel it. When I entered the boardroom, Lucas and Lena were already there. Their eyes caught mine at the same instant. Lucas's jaw tightened. Lena's lips parted slightly as if she wanted to speak but couldn't. Ethan, Lucas said, voice polite but strained. I wasn't expecting you here. I'm here for business, I said evenly, taking a seat. Let's get started. Lena avoided my gaze. I didn't need her eyes to know the fear, the regret, the surprise she tried to hide. Right, Lucas said, clearing his throat. The acquisition, I held up a hand. I already signed the paperwork this morning. NovaReach now owns Grant Media, Lucas froze. What? You heard me, I said, calm, almost serene. Everything. Shares, assets, liabilities. All of it. Lena gasped softly, and I let the sound reach me. She thought she had left me powerless. She thought I'd vanish. So you're serious? Lucas finally said, voice tight. As serious as I've ever been. I leaned back, letting my presence fill the room. I look forward to working with you both. The words hung in the air. A simple sentence, but it carried years of humiliation, heartbreak, and effort. I could see it hitting Lucas. He opened his mouth, closed it, tried again. Ethan, you can't stop it, I said. It's done. I watched Lena shift uncomfortably. I didn't know you'd... I smiled, soft but firm. You didn't think I could rise, did you? Her eyes flickered with something, fear, maybe regret. I didn't gloat, not yet. Power doesn't need shouting. Lucas finally spoke again. We need to discuss transition plans. Of course, I said. We'll go over everything. But first, I paused, letting the weight of my words settle. I want this company to succeed. That's my only concern. Lena swallowed hard. And us, our roles? I leaned forward slightly. You'll both have positions. You'll be accountable to me. But don't mistake civility for weakness. Your choices brought you here. You'll learn to navigate it. Lucas clenched his fists under the table. You're young, Ethan. You don't have enough experience to... I have enough, I interrupted, voice firm. Enough to know that arrogance doesn't last forever. Enough to rebuild what was lost. And enough to see the world doesn't owe anyone favors. Emma's voice echoed in my memory. Strategy is power. Anger is wasted energy. I smiled again, catching Lena's eye this time. I'm not here to humiliate you. Just to do what I was always meant to do. Lead. Her eyes shimmered with something I couldn't name. Regret, sadness, maybe even longing. Lucas's face twisted, a mixture of disbelief and fury. You've changed, Ethan. I have, I said softly. And so has the world. It just took me longer than you expected. I rose, signaling the meeting to continue without my need to dominate the conversation. Now, I said, voice calm but sharp, let's go over the transition timeline. We have a company to stabilize, and I expect full cooperation, Lucas muttered under his breath, and Lena bit her lip. Neither of them spoke again. As the meeting continued, I watched every interaction carefully. Every glance, every slight hesitation, every quiet compliance. Each one was proof that I had reclaimed something I thought I'd lost forever. After the meeting, as I gathered my things, Lena whispered, almost too quietly for anyone else to hear. Ethan, I shook my head, smiling gently. Not now. Actions speak louder than words. Lucas said nothing. I didn't need him to. The game had shifted. The balance of power was mine, and every stare I cast reminded them of it. Walking out of the boardroom, I felt lighter than I had in years. Not because I had exacted revenge, not because I had humiliated them, but because finally I was in control. Finally, I was free. Ethan, Lena said as I passed the PR office. Her voice was light, almost casual. Can we talk for a minute? I stopped, looked at her, calm, neutral. Sure, what's on your mind? She hesitated, twisting a pen in her fingers. I made a mistake. Leaving you. I didn't realize I held up a hand. Lena, this isn't about the past? Her eyes widened, a flicker of panic. It is about the past. I want to fix it. I want to be better. I nodded slowly, voice steady. I appreciate that, but it's not about fixing anything. We're professionals now. You report to me, and I expect you to do your job, she swallowed. Of course, Ethan, I'll expect results. No excuses. Her shoulders slumped slightly. Understood. I turned, walking away, letting the silence do the work that anger used to do. Later, I sat with Emma in my office. She's trying, I said. Emma raised an eyebrow. Trying what? Trying to worm back in, pretending regret, pretending whatever she thinks will make me soften. You're not soft? Emma said firmly. Not anymore. No, I said, staring out the window. I'm not. But I remember everything. Every word, every laugh, every excuse. Emma nodded. Good, let it guide you. Not control you, I rubbed my temples. Lucas is still here too. Executive title, full pay, ego inflated. I see the way he talks to the board. Arrogant, dismissive, thinking he's untouchable. And he won't be, Emma said. I know, I replied. I'm just watching, learning, quietly. A few days later, I called Lucas into my office. He leaned against the doorframe, smug as ever. Ethan, he said, how's the new arrangement? Fine, I said, voice calm. But there are things I need to clarify, he smirked. Go on. You've had a pattern, I said slowly. Using people, discarding them, cutting corners, thinking the world owes you loyalty. That ends here, Lucas laughed. Are you threatening me? You're the owner now, big deal. You still have to play nice. I leaned forward, voice low. Not threatening, observing, recording. Every bad decision you've made will come to light. Quietly, professionally, but inevitably. He frowned. You're serious. I've never been more serious. He left and I exhaled. Emma peeked in. You're going to let karma do the talking? Not karma, I said. Strategy. Cold, deliberate. They think they can manipulate, cheat, and charm their way through life. I'm just the mirror. Days turned into weeks. I assigned Lena campaigns, projects, and press conferences. Every time she smiled at me, I remembered the night she left. Every excuse she offered, every desperate attempt to reconnect, I let it pass. Professionally, I praised her results when deserved, but personally, I kept her at arm's length. Lucas made mistakes just as predicted. Poor contracts, aggressive marketing, favoritism toward executives who weren't loyal. I adjusted company policies quietly, steering compliance teams and HR to notice inconsistencies. No one suspected me of setting traps. One evening, Lena knocked on my office door. Ethan, I didn't know he was like this. I'm sorry for underestimating you. I looked up from the reports. Calm. Apology noted. Focus on your job. Results speak louder than words. But Enough, I said softly but firmly. This isn't about us. It's about work. Your place here is earned, not begged for, her gaze faltered. And I could see her fear. Not of me, but of consequences she hadn't faced before. Later, I called Emma. It's working, I said quietly. Who's working? Both of them. Lena thinks reconciliation is an option. Lucas thinks I'll let him slide. Both are wrong. Everything I need to dismantle their arrogance is right in front of me. Emma smiled. Patience. Control. You're disciplined now, Ethan. That's power. I leaned back, letting the satisfaction settle. Discipline feels heavy sometimes, but it's the only thing that keeps me from becoming what I hated. Anger used to drive me. Now calm drives me. And it's more effective, Emma said. Yes, I whispered. Much more effective. I stared at the city skyline through my office window, thinking about the next moves. I wasn't angry anymore, not in the old way. The fire burned, yes, but controlled, precise, a tool rather than a curse. Quiet revenge, professional justice, and discipline. That was my new armor, and I wasn't letting anything pierce it. I called Lucas into my office first thing in the morning. Lucas, I said, voice calm. We need to review your latest client contracts. There are discrepancies. He glanced at the papers, then at me. Discrepancies? I don't see any problems. I leaned back in my chair, eyes steady. You didn't notice them, but I did. And others did too. Compliance flagged it. His jaw tightened. This is ridiculous. Those clients are mine. Clients belong to the company, I reminded him. And the company answers to me now. He muttered something under his breath and left, slamming the door. I let the sound echo. Satisfaction, yes, but hollow. Later, I passed Lena's office. She peeked up at me, eyes wide. Ethan, did you see? Lucas got a warning from HR, and the board I kept walking. Yes, I saw. Keep focus on your own work, she hesitated. I can't believe how things turned out. I mean, he's losing control, and I cut her off gently. Not about him, about us. About learning from what we allowed ourselves to tolerate. Your loyalty belongs to your job, not your regrets. She bit her lip, nodding. I know. That evening, I stayed late in the office, reviewing reports Emma had compiled. Lucas had been cornered by audits, internal complaints, and client withdrawals. Every error, every arrogant choice, every misuse of resources I had quietly exposed was adding up. I heard a knock at the door. "Lena, Ethan, can we talk?" she asked, voice trembling. I didn't answer. I gestured to the chair. She sat. "I just need to say something," she whispered. "Lukesh used me. I thought I was making a smart choice. I thought you'd never, I leaned forward slightly, letting her words sink into the quiet of the office. "I was wrong," she continued. "You proved me wrong. I'm so sorry, Ethan, for everything." I didn't respond. Not a word. I could feel the old pain bubble up, sharp and familiar, but I didn't let it control me. I thought I was clever, that I knew what I wanted, she said, voice breaking. But I was blind. "You deserve better than me than all of this." I stayed silent, watching her, listening to every trembling syllable. My chest tightened, not from triumph, but from memory. Of the night she left, the humiliation, the loss. "You don't have to forgive me," she whispered. I had to say it. I nodded slowly. "Acknowledged." She looked at me, eyes wet. "I can't undo it, but I wanted you to know that I see you now. That I stop," I said finally. "Don't waste words trying to patch the past. Focus on what you can do now. Actions matter, not apologies." Her lips quivered. "I understand. I didn't soften. I couldn't, but I also didn't need to hate her anymore." Her confession didn't give me relief. It gave me clarity. That my victory wasn't about revenge, but about survival, about rising. After she left, I called Emma. "She confessed." "She did?" Emma's voice was calm, steady. "Yes," I said, "but it doesn't matter. Doesn't change the past. Doesn't erase the pain. But it does prove that people underestimate what you're capable of until it's too late." Emma sighed. "So are you satisfied?" I leaned back in my chair. "Satisfied? Not exactly. Revenge isn't sweet. It never is. It's hollow if you think it will fill the void. The only thing that matters is knowing the truth. Knowing I'm no longer the man who lets the world crush him." "You sound different," Emma said softly. "Calmer, stronger." "I am," I admitted. "But that calm carries weight. Every smile I give, every decision I make is deliberate. I don't forget the past. I carry it like a tool, not a wound." I looked out the window at the city lights. Lucas was losing grip. Lena was desperate, torn, and I felt a quiet emptiness beneath the satisfaction. It was strange, triumph that didn't taste sweet. Watching them crumble wasn't revenge. It was proof of patience, strategy, discipline. But it also reminded me that some things, some people, leave scars no success can erase. I whispered to myself, alone in the office, "It's never about them. It's about me. About becoming someone who survives, who rises, who doesn't break again." And for the first time in a long while, I felt a strange clarity. Not joy, not relief. Just the steady weight of power, of control, and the knowledge that the past would never hurt me again. The news hit my inbox first thing in the morning. Grant Media CEO Lucas Grant resigns amid fraud allegations. I sipped my coffee slowly, letting the words settle. Lucas, fired, humiliated, blacklisted. Emma walked in behind me. "Well?" she asked. I didn't answer right away. "It's done," I said finally. "All the evidence, the mismanagement, the unethical deals, it's all public now." She smiled faintly. "You didn't even have to say a word." I leaned back. "I didn't. Strategy doesn't need a mouth. Just patience." Later that day, Lena appeared in my office. Her eyes were red, her posture slumped. "Ethan, please, can we talk?" I gestured to the chair. "Sit," she hesitated, then sank into it. "I lost everything. My job, my reputation, I was wrong. About you, about him, about everything." I didn't speak. I just watched her, feeling the weight of years compressed into this moment. "I thought I was clever," she said, voice trembling. "I thought leaving you for him, I thought I was making the right choice. But you were always meant for more." "I see that now," I nodded slowly. Acknowledged. Tears ran down her cheeks. "Ethan, do you still hate me?" I looked at her, steady, calm. "No, I just don't care anymore." She blinked, confused. "You don't care? After everything?" I leaned back, resting my arms on the desk. "Hate is useless. It drains you. I've spent years building something real while you were chasing illusions. I don't need closure from you. I need it from myself," she sniffled, wiping her eyes. "I'm sorry. I should have believed in you. I should have stayed." I raised a hand, cutting her off gently. "Apologies aren't necessary. Your lesson is yours. Mine is mine, she nodded slowly. I guess I understand. I just wanted you to know. I watched her leave the office quietly and felt lighter than I expected. Not triumphant, not victorious, just free. Later, I walked through the city streets thinking about everything. Lucas's arrogance, Lena's mistakes, my own struggles. The fire that had driven me was still there, but now tempered. Calm, precise. Emma called. You okay? I smiled. Better than I have been in years. That emptiness I carried, it's gone. Not filled with revenge, just peace. You sound different, she said. Like you finally stopped looking behind you, I nodded. I did. Every stare, every insult, every betrayal, I survived it. And now none of it matters unless I let it, and I won't. That evening I went to a small cafe we used to visit. Lena was already there, sitting at a corner table nursing a cup of tea. Ethan, she said softly when she saw me. Lena, I replied, sitting across from her. You look tired, she shook her head. I feel tired. I've lost so much, and I just wanted to see you one last time. To know if you hate me. I took a slow breath. I told you before. I don't hate you. I just don't care anymore. She studied me, searching for something in my expression. Nothing at all? I shrugged lightly. I care about my life, my choices, my future. You were a part of my past, nothing more. Her shoulders slumped. I deserved that, I nodded. We all face consequences. You learned yours. I've learned mine. And now I'm free. She looked down, whispering, I'm sorry, Ethan, for everything. I shook my head, smiling faintly. Not necessary. Just live your life. Learn from it. That's enough, she nodded, tears brimming again. I will. Thank you for everything. I walked out of the cafe and into the night air. The city lights reflected off the wet pavement, sparkling like a promise. For the first time in years, I didn't feel the weight of anger, humiliation, or betrayal. Not freedom through revenge. Not triumph through others' mistakes. Just clarity, I whispered to myself, stepping into the empty street. It's done. And I'm done with the past. Emma's words echoed in my mind. Strategy is power. Anger is wasted energy. I smiled softly. For the first time, I truly believed them, and I walked on, lighter, steadier, finally free. I stood at the window of my new office, staring out at the city lights. The skyline looked different now, like it belonged to me finally. A soft knock at the door broke my thoughts. Come in, I said. Emma stepped inside, smiling, holding 2 mugs of coffee. You look lost in thought. Not lost, I replied, taking a mug. Just appreciating the view. Months ago, I wouldn't have imagined this. She set the other mug on my desk. I've seen that look before. Determined, but calm. Different from the Ethan I met when you were barely scraping by. I chuckled softly. Yeah, that guy he let life push him around. I learned the hard way that pain either destroys you or rebuilds you. Emma raised an eyebrow. And which one did it for you? I sipped my coffee. Both, at first destroyed. Then rebuilt, piece by piece. Now I'm mostly rebuilt, she smiled knowingly. You're letting yourself be happy finally, I shrugged. Happiness is new, strange. I'm still learning how to feel it without suspicion. She laughed softly. You deserve it, more than anyone I know. I looked out the window again. You know, for years I thought I'd only find freedom through revenge. I imagined the day Lucas would fall, the moment Lena would realize her mistakes. I thought satisfaction would come from them. But it didn't, not really. Emma leaned against the doorframe. What did you realize? That the only freedom worth having comes from within. From not letting the past define me. From choosing who I am today instead of clinging to old wounds. She nodded slowly. And now? Now I can focus on what matters. Building something real. Protecting the people who stayed with me. Choosing connections that matter. Emma smiled. You've got a good team. People who trust you. People who care about the vision, not the drama. I laughed softly. And I trust you. You were here from the start. Believed in me when no one else did, she shrugged. It wasn't that hard. I saw the fire in you. I just knew you needed guidance, not rescue. Guidance and patience, I said. I had to learn patience the hard way. And it's paying off. We sipped our coffee in silence for a moment, the quiet filled with the faint hum of city life below. I was afraid, I admitted quietly. Afraid I'd never recover from heartbreak, from humiliation. Afraid I'd let anger consume me. Afraid I'd never trust again. Emma's hand rested briefly on mine. And now? Now I see the choices I have. Pain can destroy you, or it can forge you. I'm choosing to be forged. Stronger, wiser, and open again. For the first time, I let myself hope. She smiled warmly. I'm glad, Ethan. You've earned it. I nodded, setting down my mug. I have, and it feels different. Not light, exactly, but clean, unburdened. I can think clearly, plan clearly, and care without fear. Emma tilted her head. Care for what? For people? For the company? Both, I said. Care for growth. For connections. For integrity. For myself, she laughed softly. Sound like someone finally at peace. Almost, I said, a small smile tugging at my lips. Peace takes practice, but I'm willing to learn. I walked back to the window, the first rays of morning sunlight brushing the city in gold. I took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the past lift slightly with every exhale. You ready for the day? Emma asked, smiling. I turned, looking at her. I think I am. Ready to build, ready to grow, ready to live without ghosts hanging over me. She nodded. Then go get it, Ethan. I stepped toward the door, pausing for a moment. Emma, thank you. For believing, for guiding, for staying. She shrugged, smiling. Someone had to. Now it's your turn. I stepped outside, the morning light spilling over my face, warm and real. The city stretched before me, full of possibilities. No ghosts. No regrets. Just choices. And for the first time, I felt the quiet thrill of freedom. I whispered to myself, smiling faintly, this is mine, all mine. And with that, I walked into the day, lighter, steadier, and finally at peace.